Welcome to Across the Pitch. We're the soccer show for people who think Blackpool is what happens when you haven't added chlorine in a while. I'm not imagining that backyard swimming pools are too much of a thing in England, but we've got them all over the place here in Arizona. Of course, that's not what we're here to talk about. The Blackpool that we're going to talk about today is the resort town in northwestern England, or more specifically, their football club, Blackpool FC. We actually had the opportunity to sit down with Accrington Stanley goalkeeper Dimitar Evtimov last Thursday prior to their match with Blackpool FC, and myself, Phil Kennedy, and Darren Woodhead had a great chat with Dimmy. One of the things that did, of course, come up was the incident last year at the Wham Stadium that involved some bottles being thrown onto the pitch in his vicinity by Blackpool supporters. And of course, if you followed the game on Saturday, you will know that a similar incident did happen again, where bottles and either it was a flare or a smoke bomb were thrown onto the pitch. And of course, that is something that has been in the news here in Phoenix recently, with a couple of cans being thrown onto the field. A recent Phoenix Rising versus LA Galaxy 2 match. And I just personally, I don't understand. We're all adults, and how hard is it just not to throw things onto the pitch? But I digress, and let's have Darren Woodhead and Mr. Excitement Dimitar Evtimov join me, and let's talk some Accrington Stanley. Good evening or afternoon, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to Across the Pitch. We have an extra special episode today, as we have one of my favorite players joining us. Accrington Stanley goalkeeper Dimitar Evtimov has joined me and Darren Woodhead today, and we're going to talk a little bit about his career and coming to Accrington, things that are going on with the season, and also, since he's the first goalkeeper that we've had on the show, we're going to talk a little bit about the technical aspects of goalkeeping as well. Welcome to the show, Dimmy, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Dimitar.
Thanks very much, and thanks for inviting me to talk with you tonight.
Yeah, now you came over to Accrington. It was midway through last season, and you've quickly become a fan favorite with the club. Tell us a little bit about how Accrington compares with some of the other clubs that you've played with through your career.
Well, I've played for quite a few teams, to be honest with you, and Accrington is quite different to any of the teams I've been to. Well, everyone is so friendly in the club. It doesn't matter if it's the chairman or down to the groundsman. Everyone is so friendly. You can just talk to everyone. The togetherness of the team and the club is amazing. It's a family club, including the fans. I was welcomed to the team very well from the chairman, from the manager, and all my teammates. So everything's been great so far, and I'm really enjoying it.
That's nice to hear, Dimmy. So, how did you first come over to England? Because I noticed your first club was Nottingham Forest, wasn't it? So, how did that happen? From growing up in Bulgaria, how did that happen?
I was playing back in Bulgaria, and then I was playing for this academy called Christos Stoichkou's Academy. So you probably should remember him.
Stoichkou is probably one of the best. Definitely remember him.
Yeah, one of the best ever Bulgarian players. He won the Ballon d'Or. So I used to play for his academy back in the days in Bulgaria, and then we had a friendly game against Forest, and I played really well against them. And then I was invited to go on trial with them for a few days, and I did really well. And then they signed me as a scholar for a 2-year contract, and I played really well. And then I kept signing new deals, but unfortunately my time there wasn't great because I didn't really get that many games under my belt. I've only had a few games for them. Mainly I was second choice or third choice. And then last season I decided to leave them to try and find somewhere else to gain more games.
I saw that, like you said, where you've been with Forest since 2011, and then you kind of got loaned out every year, and it seemed like you'd make maybe 5 or 8 appearances, and then, like you said, last season you came over to Accrington about halfway through, and you were splitting time with Johnny Maxted, but I did see that this is really the first time in your career that you've become a clear-cut starter. You're 26 years old now, and you've been in England for about 8 years. So after working so hard for 8 years, what is it like to finally get that call and be the full-time starter game in and game out?
Obviously, for a goalkeeper, the main thing is to play games because there's only one plane. So I really struggled, like in my previous years, to establish myself as a number one choice due to some different reasons like injuries, or when I was out on loan, I was recalled early from Forest because they had an injury, so I had to go back on the bench. So yeah, this is pretty much my first season where I've established myself as a number one choice, and this will help me to prove myself and other people that I'm a good goalkeeper, that I deserve a chance. And I just hope I'm going to get as many games as possible this season and to show people that I'm good, I'm decent as a goalkeeper.
Well, we certainly like what we've seen so far.
Yeah, so
you had
you came into the team at the end of last season, Dimmy. You did well. There were a couple of small issues you had to deal with referees.
Yes. There was a few little issues going on. First one I remember very well against Blackpool, which we actually play on Saturday again.
Yes,
well, it's a funny story really. Second half, I was playing in front of their fans, and throughout the whole second half, they just kept chucking bottles with me, coins. I remember there was a glass full with beer nearly landed on top of me, and I remember very well. They scored a goal. They scored a second goal.
Mm-hmm.
And they chucked a few bottles, and I think one nearly hit me in the leg. And for some reason, I just grabbed the bottle and threw it back in the stands. But never for a second in my mind, it crossed my mind that I'm going to get sent off. But the linesman saw me, and then he told the referee, and the referee came to me and said, "Listen, I know what they've been doing to you all game. I know they've been throwing bottles with you and coins, but you're not allowed to do that, so I have to send you off." So I was gutted, to be honest with you, guys. I was gutted, but it's a learning curve, so I'm never ever going to do that again. On Saturday, it doesn't matter how many bottles they throw at me, I'm just going to stand there and just laugh at them.
Yeah, it was unusual circumstances, I think, the game, wasn't it? Because the Blackpool, there were the ownership issues and things going on. All the tensions were running really high. I don't think Blackpool supporters in general are like that. I think there was a one-off occasion. And like you said, you didn't throw it back. Yeah, you didn't throw it back with any malice or anything. You weren't, aggressive with it.
No, I wasn't aiming for anyone, or I didn't want to hurt anyone. It was just I just saw the bottle and just launched it back in the stands where it came from.
Right, it wasn't even an overhand throw. I was watching the game, and you just picked it up and kind of tossed it sideways, just to get it out of your way is what it looked like to me. And then the next thing I know, they were sending you off, and I was not happy with that referee. I'll tell you that.
No, yeah, just put it down to experience.
I know. Yeah, many people ask me what happened. Why did he get sent off? I was like, well, not sure, to be honest with you, but I think it's because of the bottle. But yeah, I said, it's a learning curve. I need to learn from this and not do it again, and just stay focused on the game.
Yeah, and then there was another occasion on the TV. You had a little bit of, after you got back in the team, you were making some good saves again, etc. And then they had the sending off against Luton, which was another controversial decision, wasn't it?
It's never nice to get sent off live on TV where everyone is watching you. Especially the game was actually live in Bulgaria as well, so I had all my friends and family watching.
Oh no!
Oh, wow.
That one didn't that one end up getting overturned though?
No, it didn't get overturned. We didn't appeal for it for some reason. But yeah, it was one of these days where I had a back pass, and it was the first yellow card was just bad touch from me, and I tried to smother the ball back and play to Mark Hughes, but I had a bad touch. The striker took it, and I had to bring him down. And at that point, my head was all over it. I was like, wow, live on TV, I made a mistake. First 2 minutes. There's a penalty for them. I need to save it. I must save the penalty. And then, which I did. I saved the first penalty.
Yeah, you did save that penalty. Yeah.
I saved the first penalty. I was like, wow, this is like a lot of emotions going on for like the first 5 minutes of the game. And then for some reason I gave another penalty, which I've watched back again, and I don't think it was a penalty, but the referee gave it, and then I didn't really have time to like make a save because he had to send me off, and then it was another red card for me. So it was quite an eventful second half of the season last year.
Yeah. But you've managed to get a good pre-season, put it all behind you. You've had a pre-season. I noticed you were training with the military at one point, weren't you, in the summer? I saw you in the full uniform.
Yes, we trained with the military for a few days down in Oxford, which was a great experience, to be honest with you, because you never really have time to see or opportunity to see how they train or how they live. I come from a country where military was compulsory, so you had to like go to military after you graduate school. But I missed these times. So now to go to military and to see how they live, how they cope with all the regimes, all the schedule they have, it was like really tough, but really enjoyable at the same time.
Yeah, I thought that was a great kind of team building activity that they did, and it seemed like it was something where you guys were really it just brought the club together, and that's kind of that whole creating that family atmosphere that you were mentioning earlier, and it just seems like with Stanley, like you said, more so than any other team, not even just the, like you said, from the fans all the way to the chairman, but the players themselves just seem to be a tight-knit group and have each other's backs.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I said, I've never really seen a group like this before, and I've been to many teams. Everyone seems to be like, we're not just like friends, we're like a big family, from, like I said, from the chairman down to everyone in the team. So you can go to the chairman and just have a laugh with him or have a chat with him, just like friends, where in other teams, you've got this like distance between chairman, like directors and players. You've got a distance where here everything is so friendly, which is good. It's like a nice environment to work in. And the team is great. The new lads are great. And that team bonding that we had with the military was good for them and good for me as well, because we got together really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it really, for me being somebody who's from Phoenix, Arizona, and to become an Accrington Stanley fan is obviously a bit of a story, but it really is just that where when I started following Stanley and just learning about the whole atmosphere of the team, and then being able to have you on the show, or like we had Scott Brown and Callum Johnson, and even Andy Holt himself has come on the show, and there's not any chairman from other teams that are offered to come talk to us, and it just is amazing. And now we want to talk to you about what's going on at Stanley this season, but before we get to that, I did want to kind of backtrack a little bit, because we didn't talk much about your early career in Bulgaria. So tell us a little bit about football in Bulgaria versus football in England, and how the leagues work over there and things like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with how I started to be a goalkeeper. So I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my dad was a professional football player, and he was a midfielder. So he really wanted for me to be like an outfield player. And I started as a left back. I think I was 7 or 8 years old, and I started as a left back. I was quite quick at the time, by the way. I'm not as quick anymore, but I was really quick at the time. And I started as a left back. But for some reason, I wasn't really enjoying it. And I really had passion for being a goalkeeper. So I was probably 9 or 10 years old where I've decided to be a goalkeeper. And to be honest with you, my dad was devastated, because he always wanted me to be an outfield player. But then I became a goalkeeper, and I did really well. I played for my hometown for a few years.
Yeah.
And then when I was 13 or 14, I got scouted by Hristo Stoichkov's academy, which was about 4 or 5 hours drive from my hometown. And I went there. I really enjoyed it. I played some really, really, really great games. I played first team football when I was 16. That was second division in Bulgaria. And then I got the chance to move to England. The differences between England and Bulgaria, unfortunately, are ginormous. The football in Bulgaria is not as developed as what is in here. You don't have the facilities. You don't have the qualified coaches. You have really good coaches, but they're not really qualified to like help you carry on in your career. So for me to come in England, where football has started, was like something unbelievable. This is everybody from my country dreams to go abroad, especially in England, and to make a great career in football.
Who was the El Clasico of Bulgaria, if you will?
The El Clasico. So I'm a CSKA Sofia supporter, and the El Clasico is CSKA Sofia against Levski Sofia. So these are the two biggest rivals. Both teams play in the top flight of Bulgaria. They're probably the two best teams. There's another team called Ludogorets, which at the minute is probably the best. They're quite new. They've only came on the radar about 10 years ago, but they've done really well. They've got a great owner who is investing in the team. But the El Clasico is definitely CSKA Sofia versus Levski Sofia. It's a big derby when these two play against each other.
Yeah. So did you watch English football, Dimi, when you were growing up in Bulgaria?
Of course, yeah. That's what we didn't really watch Spanish football or German football. We mainly watch like English football because we had Berbatov playing in England. We had Stilian Petrov playing for Aston Villa. We had Martin Petrov playing for Man City. So I was entirely focused on English football. And really, that was my dream since I was a little lad to go and play in England. And I'm so happy that I managed to fulfill my dream. So now I'm just hoping that I can gradually build up and go in the highest possible league.
Right. And did you have any goalkeepers who you used to follow in the English league, who you used to admire?
Yeah, I really used to admire Edwin van der Sar. And before I went to Forest, I had a trial with Man United. And I had the chance to train with them for a week. And I trained with the first team for a few times. And I trained with Van der Sar at the time. And they had also Thomas Kuszczuk as a goalkeeper. And all the likes of like Berbatov, Michael Owen, Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, all of them. So I was 15 at the time. And to train with them, it was just unbelievable experience. It was a dream come true. Also to be managed by Sir Alex Ferguson, just for a week. It was just unbelievable experience.
Yeah, that must have been some experience.
Imagine.
Yeah. Wow. You managed to make the under-21 team for Bulgaria in your early part of your career, and I've noticed, and you made a few appearances, and then you've been called up into the full squad at certain times. How has that been?
Well, it's great. I mean, for any footballer to represent his country is one of the best things that can ever happen to him or to her. To like have the badge of your country on your chest is just something that you have to be very proud of. And it's a proud moment for me, for my family. So I had the chance to play for pretty much every youth rank with the national team, from like under 15s to under 21s. And I also got called up for the first team for the first time in November last year. I was doing really well for Burton Albion at the time. And I got a call up. I didn't play, but I was involved with the team. So, like I said, it's a great honor. And I'm just hoping that one day, if I do well for Accrington, then one day I'm going to get the call up again. And I'm going to get a game this time.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the profile now. You're playing in League One. There's games on TV, etc. So, you know, if you're run into some good form, and the team do, there's no reason why you can't get back in there, is there?
Of course, yeah. For me, I've always believed in like working hard. Even if you're like down in the dumps, I've always believed that if you work hard, if you do well, then eventually your luck or your opportunity will come. So that's what happened with me. When I left Forest, I was down in the dumps. I didn't have a team. I wasn't sure where I'm going to end up. And luckily enough, Burton gave me a chance, even though just for a few months, but gave me a chance to put myself on the radar again, for people to notice me again. And I did really well. And then Accrington like helped me as well. And like I said, if you do well, if you work hard, things will turn around and you will succeed eventually.
You really have kind of stepped into the role this year and definitely made it your own. And Accrington has not necessarily quite gotten off to the start that they wanted to this year. You guys have struggled a little bit. But in the games that you have come away from points with, you've really stepped up big. I remember I actually sent you a message after the AFC Wimbledon game when you made that save right at the buzzer that saved the point. And I know you had a big one against Fleetwood, and there was another one in the the Bristol Rovers match. I believe that was another last-second point saver. What's it like to be able to make a play like that and step off the field knowing that you saved your team some points like that?
Well, as a goalkeeper, that's your job. Like, you have to try and save the ball, not going in your net. As a striker, your job is to score a goal. As a defender, again, is trying to save your ball, not going in the net. So to manage and help the team is nothing better than that. And to be honest with you, I'm quite disappointed that we still haven't kept a clean sheet this season, and we didn't start really well first few games. But we're starting to pick it up now. We play really good football. You can see that we're not just kicking the ball forward. We try to play football, and we're one of the good teams in the league. And for me to help the team, it's just something that you have to do, though. You have to help, because anyone has a part in the team. Anyone has a role to play. So for me to make a save in the first minute or the last minute is just part of my job in the team. But yeah, it's a good feeling to make a save in the last minute and save the point for the team, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a good feeling just to walk off the pitch on a high note. And speaking of that, in terms of saving the ball, I would say that one of the things that draws me to watching you play is there's some goalkeepers that are out there and they're just kind of there, but you are one of the most aggressive players in terms of attacking the ball that I've seen. And if you're okay with this, I'm actually giving you a nickname, and I like to call you Mr. Excitement, because you are just the most exciting player to watch on the field. I know that there was one game where there was a corner kick that came in, and you played the ball, and you just kind of you jumped out of everybody, grabbed the ball, and the commentator said before that ball was ever even kicked that he could tell you had made your mind up that you were going to play that ball. And it just seems like that's your mindset. So where did your aggressive mindset come from? Has this always been the way you played?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been I can't really say maybe aggressive, but I've always been on my front foot. I've always tried to read the game, try to help my defenders. So I'm always on the front foot, always trying to be active, help the team. And that's what the manager wants me to do as well in the club. He wants me to sweep balls from the back. He wants me to come for corners or for long balls to try and catch them and trying to take the pressure off the teammates. So he's given me this as a instruction to do that. So for me, I've got this quality in my locker. So if I can do that, I'll try to do it every game to build my front foot and try to help a teammate. And like you said, aggressive. And I really like the nickname, by the way.
Well, I'm glad you like the nickname, and we'll keep using that in our articles. And so Mr. Excitement is what you will be known as from here forth. And I wasn't surprised at all when you had said that you had started off as a midfield and a defender, because I could tell that you're a guy that has some experience with handling the ball, and you make some plays with your feet that you wouldn't see the average goaltender make. The other question I did want to ask you, though, about it, and you did kind of touch on this a little bit already, is that it appears that John Coleman has you guys working the ball up from the back and kind of starting things off, and with you in a bit of a sweeper role. Is that what John Coleman is doing tactically right now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, our mentality as a club is to try and play the ball instead of just kicking it forward. So every time when I get the ball from a goal kick, I try to play to my defenders or to my midfield instead of just kicking it forward to the strikers. I think it's a good way to play football. I think we showed this season and last season as well that we can play really well, and we can try and pass the ball through the opposition players. And also, like you said, I'm a sweeper keeper. Any long ball behind the defense, I try and sweep it or sweep and then pass it to my teammates. So this is our mentality at the minute. This is what we're trying to focus on, playing from the back, trying to not just kick the ball forward, trying to play. And that's how we're going to play for the rest of the season.
Okay, so the training ground every day, Dimmy. How's that going? Because you've got an experienced coach there with Tony Warner. How are you finding Tony?
Oh, Tony's a great guy. Like I said earlier about the club, that everyone is being so friendly. Tony, he's my coach, but at the same time, he's a really good friend of mine. So there's times where he has to tell me that I'm not doing well, but also there are times where he'll just come to me as a friend and just have a chat. So he's just a great guy to have around, and to have him as a coach as well. Like, he's a very experienced goalkeeper. He's played in the highest possible league. He's played in Premier League, played in the Championship, and he's a very, very, very good goalie coach as well. So to have him as well.
It seems like you've got a good setup there. You've got some young keepers as well to work with, which must be healthy for competition, even though you're the senior guy now. There's some good young guys coming through as well.
Yeah, we've got Joseph Bursic, we've got Toby Savin, like two really young goalkeepers, but they've got so much potential, both of them. Joseph is so good with his feet. He's a great guy. Toby as well. Toby showed in the last cup game when he played. It was his debut as well, and he got man of the match. And he just showed that he's a good goalkeeper. Both of them have a really, really bright future ahead of them, and they're really like keeping me on my toes, like pushing me to do well, which I think I'm doing to them as well. Like in training, we try to push each other, which is healthy for the club to have good competition.
That's great. So are you first time that you've been living in the Northwest? Is it, Dimmy?
It is, yeah, indeed. Yeah. I still have my house in Nottingham, so I'll do a lot of driving. But when I live up north, I'm staying in Liverpool. There's a house which is owned by the club, and there's a few of the lads staying in the house. So it's good fun because we have about 6 or 7 of the lads staying in the house. So there's a lot of banter going on, but at the same time, we look after each other. So it's good fun.
One thing I wanted to ask you about is you've got some new guys that have come in front of you now. The back line at Accrington is pretty consistent. You got guys like Ross Sykes and Callum Johnson have been there for a while. But one guy that has really impressed me is Jerome Apaku. Tell us about him and what he seems to bring a whole new element to the back line. And he's a big unit out there too.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Ross is a big guy as well. So it really helps for like long balls or like set pieces and free kicks. But with Jerome, I was really impressed the first time I saw him. He's a very, very big lad, very athletic, agile, but at the same time, he's very good with his feet. Because usually big boys, like big men, they're not great with their feet, but he's very technical. He can play the ball very well, which is good. And you can see that when he was playing back in the Fulham Academy, you can see that they've trained a lot on like him playing with the ball in his feet. At the same time, he's very good in the air. As you can see, he's like 6'7", 6'8". He's just ginormous. I feel small next to him, and that's not very often.
I was thinking that earlier, Dimmy. If you would have stayed at left back, you would have been probably the biggest left back I've ever seen.
Apart from Jerome, because he's bigger than me.
Yeah, I was impressed by his footwork. And like you said, for a guy his size, he's fast and good with his feet and, strong and physical. And then there was also another guy that made a debut was, I don't want to even attempt it his first name, but Elise from West Ham that came over. He's another big physical guy out there that should be a factor in front of you as well.
Yeah, he's a good defender as well. He's been with the England youth team, national team, so he's got the technique. He's a big lad as well, but like I said, he's also good on the ball. So we have brought up in the team young players, but also quality with a lot of quality in them. So which is good for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe there's 16 new guys that have come in from last season, so it's almost a whole new roster. But then you've still got guys like McConville and Keneally who have been around forever.
Oh yeah, in a team you need like experienced players to mix up with the young players like Seamus and Sean. Both of them are really experienced players. Also Mark Hughes. The three of them really bring that experience to the team because it's good to have young players, but at the same time, you need experienced players to guide them along the way. So, like, in tough times when we're losing or when we're winning as well, to, like, give you the right motivation or guide you throughout the game. So having them in the team with the young lads is the perfect combination for me.
Right, Dimmy. So moving on from that and experience and everything and new players coming in. I mean, I'm quite excited as a supporter, with so many new players. I don't think we've probably found our best team yet because there's so many players. And what John Coleman's teams normally do is once that does settle down, they go on good runs. Do you see that happening this season? What are your hopes for the season?
Well, I think that we're going to do well this season. I think, we didn't have the best start this year because, like you said, we've got new players. They were trying to adapt to the league, to the team. But you can see from the last few games, like I said earlier, we are a good team that we can actually pass the ball, that we can play good football. And we showed it against Wickham. Even though the game finished 1-0, they didn't really have any chances. They didn't really threaten us where we had a lot of chances from the way we play. And having said that, I think that this season, if we keep doing the right things like we have done the last few games, even though we lost against Sunderland, we did really well up front.
Yeah.
We made some mistakes at the back, but if we clear these fine margins and if we play the way we're playing, I think we'll do well. And why not?
Agree.
Why can we not go top 6? It's possible.
No. I've been following the team for a long time, and sometimes after 6 or 7 games, we've been high up the league, and I probably haven't been as optimistic as what I am now. Because if you just look at how many good, talented players they've got in the squad, once they gel, I think they could go on from strength to strength, personally.
Of course, yeah. I completely agree with you. The way we play, I think we've got the potential, we've got the players and the quality to do well in this league. And we've played against other teams that are way above us, and they're, no disrespect, but they're nothing special. So I think we'll do well this season. I think we'll do well.
Yeah, I mean, we talked at length with Tony Robinson when we talked to him after the Sunderland game about how the stats on paper really actually almost favored Accrington, and if it hadn't been for a couple of bounces that went Sunderland's way, it really came down to that both teams had 3 or 4 chances, and Sunderland cashed in on 3 of theirs, and Accrington only 1 of theirs. And that was really the whole difference in that game with Sunderland.
Of course, like I said, it's the fine margin. Sunderland, they've got really, really experienced players. They've got players that have been in the highest level. They play Premier League, Championship. So if you make a mistake against players at this level, they will punish you, and that's what happened against Sunderland. We made mistakes and they just punished us, where when they made mistakes, we didn't really punish them as much. So these are the fine margins that we need to find and we need to adjust to. And like I said, if we do that, we'll be all right.
Let's take things to a little bit less serious note now, because I know this is something that has become extremely popular. It's something that everybody wants to know about, and that's that advertising bit that you did with the sunglasses. Tell us about that. Was that something that was off the cuff, or how did that all come about?
It happened really spontaneous, to be honest with you. So we had the team photo that day, and we had our individual photos. And then the media guys, they said to us, just come in front of the camera and do something. Let's say if I save a penalty, they want to post something on social media, or if Colby Bishop scores a goal, just to make a celebration. So I got in the room, and I saw all the boys sat down, not knowing what to do. I was like, come on, guys, show me what you've got. And they were all like, we don't know what to do. We don't know what kind of impressions to do. And for some reason, I had my sunglasses with me in my pocket. So I was like, go on, I'm going to show you something now. So I'm going to try to be smooth but cool at the same time. So that's when I did the turn. And to be honest, it turned up to be really good and really funny at the same time.
It was perfect. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those, I think that might be the most popular Accrington video since that milk advertisement.
Wow, that's very hard to step up as big as that, to be honest.
One thing that we do always kind of ask about here, and now you mentioned that growing up in Bulgaria, that playing in the English leagues has always kind of been your dream. Have you ever thought about maybe trying to bring your game across the pond and try your hand at the MLS after you finish things up in England? Had you ever thought about anything like that before?
I have thought about quite a lot actually, because my sister, she lives in America. She lives in Vegas, and
okay,
problem,
right up the road from us.
Phil, are you poaching players?
No, I'm staying at Aki. I'm contracted to Aki, and I'm staying here for now. But yeah, like I said, my sister lives in Vegas, and as you know, they've only just had a new team, Las Vegas Lights, which is like nice to see for as a city like Vegas to have a football team, soccer team, as you call it over there. And MLS,
Las Vegas Lights are actually one of the chief rivals of Phoenix Rising over here. I'm a season ticket holder with Phoenix over here, and Vegas is actually. Vegas is 280 miles from us, which is about the same distance as Accrington to Portsmouth, but they're still our closest rival.
I know, yeah. For you, 280 miles is nothing. For us, it's like, wow, too long.
Yeah.
It's another.
But yeah, like I said, MLS. I mean, one day you never know. MLS, it's every year is getting better and better, and you see the players that go there, like Zlatan. There's so many like good players that go there and play, and you never know though. You never know how football will end up. Where is my career gonna end up? In football, things change so quick, so you never know. Maybe one day I can end up there.
Yeah, I should imagine it'd be a good experience for you to play in different countries. Move around. Especially if you've got the English language, it should be easy for you.
Should be easy for me. I've got experience of playing in different countries. I've played in Bulgaria. Obviously, I played in England. I also had a stint in Portugal for a few months, which was good, different but good. So yeah, trying different leagues, different cultures as well. It's good. It's good.
All right. Well, we would love to see you come over here sometime, and if you do come to the MLS, then you've already got a fan club here in Phoenix, and. But kind of to turn the opposite page of that question, and this is something that we kind of always ask whenever we have a Accrington player or anybody relating with Accrington on the show, is one of the things that we do with this show is introducing fans over here in the United States to English football outside of the Premier League, obviously the Championship, League One, League Two, and Accrington is our kind of flagship team, if we will. So one question that we always ask is for fans over here in the States that haven't picked a favorite English team yet, why should they pick Accrington Stanley over somebody else?
Well, one of the reasons I picked Accrington was, like I said, it's just the vibe around the club, not just around the staff members, around the fans as well. Everything is, the togetherness of the whole town is just amazing. And one thing that really caught my eye was the motto, the club that never dies. So it really shows the passion that this club and this town have. So to have fans from across the Atlantic will be great. And hopefully, you never know, one day we may go there on a tour, hopefully go there and then people can see us train or play games over there.
Yeah, we would love to see an Accrington Stanley versus Phoenix Rising friendly. We've been trying to mention to Andy that he needs to get over here and try and play a match in Phoenix. And we do have the official Accrington Stanley Supporters Club of North America that we recently started. So we are growing the fan base over in Phoenix and across the pitch, and the Accrington Stanley Supporters Club of North America is kind of at the heart of that. And we've got the new pins with the U.S. and Canada flags. So we're doing everything that we can to make Stanley an international brand.
Which is great, and I can see from like your social media the things that you do is great for the communities over there, and to like show Accrington to the rest of the world, and just keep doing what you're doing. And you've been amazing. You've been brilliant.
Well, thank you, and thank you for coming on and taking the time with us and helping us spread the word. And before we wrap up, I think that Darren had one last question for you.
No, it's not really a question. It's just a comment. So thanks for coming on, Dimmy. I've never personally met you, so I'll make it my business to say hello to you on Saturday for the game against Blackpool. And just on that point, how do you feel about facing Blackpool again?
Well, first of all, I'm looking forward to meeting you as well, and hopefully we can congratulate ourselves with a victory after the game on Saturday.
That'd be great.
Well, yeah, I feel positive. I know I'm going to get a bit of banter from the Blackpool fans, but hey ho, I always react well to the fans, and I always have laugh at them with their away fans. So I think we'll be all right, and it will be a good game to be involved in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. It should be a good occasion.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see a Stanley win. I think that, like you guys have been saying, that every week as I watch the games, I see the team getting closer and closer. And I think by the time that the calendar turns to 2020, that Aki is really going to be surprising some people out there.
Yeah, we're hoping for the same thing, because many people are like doubting us because we're not as big as like Pompey, or we're not as big as like, I don't know, Ipswich, but we're a team that we play with desire, and we've got big hearts as a team and as a town, as a community. So I think we're going to prove a lot of doubters wrong.
I think so too. And then the only other thing I wanted to say is we do have in the fan zone at Wham Stadium, we do have our across the pitch sign that's up across from the bar. So maybe you and Darren could meet up sometime and we get your picture there under the across the pitch sign.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, that'll be great for sure.
Well, fantastic, and thanks again for joining us today. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add in before we wrapped up?
Well, I just want to say thank you to both of you as well for inviting me on your show, and well done for everything you're doing, for all the podcasts you're doing and all the stuff you do across the Atlantic. So keep up the good job, and again, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm sure I'm the first Bulgarian that has been on the show. So.
Yeah. And goalkeeper. First goalkeeper as well.
And first goalkeeper. Wow, that's an honor for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you are the first Bulgarian and the first goalkeeper on the show. We are a very international show. We've had guys from Ghana. We've had guy Chris Cortez, who played over in Phoenix and then went over and played in Thailand. So that is kind of one of the things that we do like to do here, is tell people about all the leagues everywhere in the world. And we'll be looking forward to that Sofia El Clasico. I'll have to find out how I can stream that one over here.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll find it. It will be a good game. It's worth watching it.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime towards the end of the season. We'll plan on catching up with you, and I really enjoyed it. And good luck on Saturday against Blackpool.
Thanks very much. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dimmy.
Thanks, Dimmy. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Cheers.